What's up, YouTube? New build for the new year. You've already clicked on it, so you know what it's about. Got the Trailfinder 2 short wheelbase, and I've been doing a lot of research on this, and I decided to go ahead and do it. There's a lot of issues with these from what I've read. They are a very scale chassis. It's just Trailfinder 2. We're all familiar with those. But the short wheelbase adds its own level of complication, driveline angles, and I've read a lot of stuff about the 4-link kit that they sell. They only have one for the rear because there's just no room for the front to fit it all in, and the shocks and stuff. It's a lot of issues, but that's part of what I enjoy most about the hobby is the engineering side of it. Now, I'm not an engineer, but I've been building RCs for so long now that I can kind of do things and change things, and I know my way around and how things are supposed to work. So I thought it would be a fun challenge. I'm going to try not to rush this one. I know it's going to be probably a few hours before I have the chassis built. And it'll probably be a few months before I finish the body, which you see here, I've got Tamiya Jeep Wrangler body. Now, I bought this just the body only. I don't have windows, anything. I do believe I have the light buckets from a previous build. I have some extras laying around. But this video, we're just going to talk about the kit and talk about pros and cons. I'm not going to do an unboxing because there's plenty of those on YouTube. You already know basically what to expect. So I'm just going to be brief with it, and we're going to talk about what's good, what's new, and why this costs almost as much as the Trailfinder 2 and doesn't come with a body. Okay, so first we'll talk about the upgrades. Things that this Trailfinder 2 has that a standard Hilux body Trailfinder 2 does not. And first up are these drive shafts. And buddy, let me tell you, these are nice. They have absolutely minimal slack turning them side to side, and they look amazing. They look like a real drive shaft. They feel real nice and tight. The old Punisher shafts I've got on my Amigo back there, and they are just, you can almost turn them a 1/4 inch. There's so much slop in them. And these look awesome, and if you price these, they're usually 35-40 bucks a piece. So that's one major price increase on the components that justify it not having a body for the price that it is. The next big thing it does, it has the Yoda 2 axles. All the Trailfinder kits, Trailfinder 2 kits with the Mojave body, have the Yoda 1 axles. And the main difference is the appearance. It's a little bit smaller diameter, a little bit more scale, and the cover comes off. Sorry, I'm not even showing you. Sorry, I can't clear my throat. The diff cover comes off on these, and the yeah, that's really about it. Just a little bit better upgrade. I like the Yoda 2s over the Yoda 1s. Mainly, there's not as much slop in the hubs. That was my big complaint on the Yoda 1 axles, is there was a ton of play here on your front steering mechanism, and these improve on that quite a bit, and they just look a little bit better. And so that's another big price increased item that comes with the kit. Another major difference, your transmission, your transfer case crossmember is from a Jalon 2, not the giant Anchors Away Trailfinder 2 one. This one's even worse with the mounts on it. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works, because everything fits a little different on here because it's so short. Other than that, you got your standard R3 single speed because there's no room for the dual speed. And you got your standard transfer case. Let's move on to the chassis over here. You can see it's just standard business. It has different ends, and I believe our servo mount is a little bit different, but our motor mount's slightly different as well. Cross members, our rear shock towers are different. Another improvement over the original, the shock towers have threads in them, so no more nut on the back side of them. That's handy. And our rear body mount is quite extensive, and it actually has a scale bumper, which the machining on, you can see the lines in it, is not amazing. But it's a nice bumper and it fits the Jeep well. It's got a cut here in the back for the license plate part that sticks off of the Jeep body, which we can trim off really easily, but whatever, they machined it for us, so we'll leave that. Another major flaw with this kit that I found is the bumpers. They've recently come out with some aftermarket style bumpers, like the Rampage 2 bumpers and stuff, and it's just a pain. The front, you still have to kind of leave the bumper because, I don't know if you're all familiar with these Tamiya YJ bodies, and any of the CC01 Tamiya bodies, the Amigos, the Pajero, and the Jeeps. They all, some of them, most of them do, the hard bodies, they fit from the back. You have body posts that stick up. That's why this rear mount is kind of funky looking. It sticks up and has body posts that come through like so. And then your front kind of clips over. You stretch the plastic up and it locks around a tab on the chassis. So that made all kinds of problems on this chassis. So you have your bumper mount, or your body mount, I guess. This is the end of the frame. Fits on like any Trail Finder 2 type mount. And you have this piece which bolts into the body. And then instead of locking over like the Tamiya standard way is, where it kind of just would sit around a tab, it actually screws in. So that makes it not easy to remove the body, which I don't really like. I hate taking the bodies off and on, especially if we do an interior on it, but this has to fit under the stock bumper, is what I'm trying to get at. The bumper is molded into the body, and that's our only means of attachment. So any kind of front bumper has got to work with that or around that without interfering with the front bumper itself. So we have to have this point on the body to be able to mount it. So if we cut the ends off, it's going to look weird. If we try to put anything else over it, so that's going to be a challenge to find some kind of scale bumper option for it, because the Rc4wd bumper looks odd the way it fits over it. The picture on their site, they actually leave the entire plastic bumper on the front of the body and just bolt it on, and that's not how the real ones are. So yeah. Another major difference with this, leaf springs, I don't open them up just yet, but they only run a single leaf. You know, all the Trail Finder 2s come with all the different variable helper leaves, but these, they run a single leaf with these little helpers on either side of it, and I'm not exactly sure how that helps. Maybe it might help with the axle wrap, but probably not. So it'll be interesting to see how it performs, because of the short wheelbase. They're trying to make the suspension softer so it will still flex some, and I don't know, it's going to be odd. Major drawback, which I'm really disappointed with, standard old shocks. These are the original ultimate scale shock that they had. And these aren't even real shocks. They're not oil filled. They're internal springs. So you've got your leaf spring suspension, and you're going to put a coil spring on top of it, and you have no actual dampening, because springs don't really seem to dampen springs. You need actual fluid filled shock on there, and that's going to be a challenge with this, because these are 70mm, and your aftermarket options for 70s are very limited. And there's a lot of clearance issues from what I've researched. So you can't just drop in a 70mm king shock, because it's going to rub every side of everything, because there's just not enough space for it to fit in where it needs to fit and still function in its full area of motion. So I'm not sure what we're going to do on that. My goal is to build this just fresh from the start, all stock, and we're going to put on some tires and wheels, mock up the body, and get an idea of what I want it to look like, and decide whether I want to cut the roof off, try to make a off-road crawler, or I'm going to try to go scale, run a smaller tire, try to make it look as realistic as possible. If you follow along my channel, you know I lean more towards the realistic. So with the performance of this chassis, everything that I've read on it, I think it is going to be geared more towards the performance. The performance is going to be geared more towards the scale look as opposed to the actual off-road performance. I want to keep it all leafed. Now, you know, my Trail Finder 2 back there, I've already completely linked it, and it's, you know, hardly anything left of a regular Trail Finder 2 on it. So this I want to keep as stock as possible. Got my body. I've got a servo coming for it, another Savox. I think it's the 220. It's the bottom of the line high torque servo that they make. It's all metal geared. I found it on Amazon for like 32 bucks. I can buy it locally for about 45. It's been really good. I've got it in my Trail Finder 2. I've got it in my D110, but it's not here yet. But what else have I got? Oh, the tires and wheels. This comes with 1.9s, and I'm not going to argue with anyone. This is not a 1.9 body. This is a 155 body all the way. So I'm not even going to mount those tires and wheels. I'm going to set them aside. We'll use them later. You can see I've got a lot of options up here on that shelf, and most of them are 155. I'm leaning more towards maybe like the Mudslingers, because it's a 90s Jeep, 80s Jeep. Mudslingers were a thing back then. I think that's a good look. Me and one of my coworkers were talking about it last night. I think that might be a right style of tire. But I'm gonna pursue all options once we get a roller out of this. I'm gonna do a tire fitment video with everything I have, so we can get an idea of what everything looks like on it, and then we'll figure that out from there. So enough talking. I'm gonna start putting this bad boy together. I found one little thing here. I'm not very far into the build yet. I told you they changed one of the motor mounts, the transmission mount. This is one I had to replace out of my Trail Finder 2. This is the hole that you used to screw it in with. It's stripped out, and it used to be right here in between and below the other screws. So they've extended the other mount hole back and reinforced it. You see, it's got a lot of meat on the back there for it to thread down into. So that's one vast improvement. That's not one of my cost increase improvements, but that just shows that they're listening to the customers. I also did want to say, in case y'all were wondering, I'm not affiliated with Rc4wd. They just keep building the kind of stuff that I want. I did contact them when I first started this YouTube channel about some sort of sponsorship or something, but they were nice. They said I just didn't have enough subscribership to justify them getting involved with me at that time. So, you know, I think I had maybe 100 subscribers, not even that many back then. So yeah, no hard feelings. I really like their stuff. I'll keep spending my hard-earned money on it. And we'll get back to building. They have the frame rails here together in a minute, and really, honestly, there shouldn't be a whole lot to this, since the axles and everything are already built. So hopefully we can get this done tonight. Alright guys, mounting up the leaf springs, and I wanted to show you this new spring helper system that they've got. It's just these two pieces here, and it's gonna be hard to see. That's the top piece. It's kind of concave on the bottom, and then the bottom piece, it's kind of the opposite. And they just, I guess, help keep the leaf arched. It's the only thing I can figure. It's just like a backing plate on either side of it. The old Tamiya high lifts and stuff, they always had a plastic thing like that. So I'm gonna give it a shot. Just run one leaf. Like I said, we still don't know what direction we're gonna go with this, so we may turn this into a super scale truck and just not worry about rock crawling, but you never know. We gotta get it built first. I'll show you the chassis. Get you up there so you can see it. Chassis is coming along. Oh, where's that? There it is. There's the chassis. It's like the Trail Finder 2 and the Delon 2 had a baby. It's a little bit mix of both trucks. So far so good. I got the body mounts and stuff on. Thing fits nice and snug. But anyway, I'm going to start on the axles here, and we'll see how it goes. Alright boys and girls, here it is. I'm liking it. It is not the most flexing thing. See, we have no motor or nothing. We get about an inch of flex out of it, but I like it still. Feels nice. I think this will be more of a mid-range speed trail truck. Let's see. Yeah, I put the 155 stamp steels on here with the mudslingers. I think that's going to look a little more scaled. This to me is a 155 body, this Jeep body. So I'm going to go ahead and put the Jeep body on. See what it looks like. I'm going to line up the rear body post. Maybe. Oh, come on. Oh, I see. The rear bumper can't go on yet. I already put it on. Alright, I got it back on. Had to take the tire bumper off to get the rear body into the mounts. I haven't screwed the front down yet. I'm still not sure exactly how I'm going to do that and if it's going to work. There we go. Now it sits all level. So it's a pretty scale ride height. I think you could take the tires even smaller. I may have to try some different combos out here. Thinking maybe the mudslingers from the mud thrashers, I'm sorry, for an even more scale look. I don't have any wheels on those. I'm gonna have to come up with something. But yeah, this thing's a little squatty hoss. It's not gonna be the greatest performing vehicle, but one issue I had, where the transfer case and the transmission, the coupler, it has you slide the transfer case onto the coupler that's already attached to the, well, after you attach it to the transmission. And then I went to screw the transfer case into the crossmember and it didn't line up, so it's kind of in a bind. And you can feel it rolling that it's kind of in a bind, so I'm not 100% sure I'm happy with that. I don't really know how to go about fixing it because everything's pre-drilled and tapped, so may just have to wait and see. But anyways, let me know if y'all have any questions about this. I like the heck out of this little chassis. I think it's gonna be a fun little truck. I don't think I'm gonna make it a rock crawler. I think it's gonna be more of a trail, mid-range speed. I'm not gonna make it fast by any means. Not gonna go brushless or anything silly. Except I do have a brushless setup laying around. Anyway, but yeah, this is pretty cool for me because I bought a CC01 Tamiya Wrangler kit. I always wanted one growing up, and I never could afford it because I was, a kid. And then not that long ago, maybe 4 years ago, I bought a kit and I built it up. I had a brand new Jeep Wrangler, the JK, and I built this YJ body to look like mine. It was red with the black top, and I decided I would sell it, and so I traded it off for something, and I built another body, and that's when I came up with the shortened bruiser frame, and I had Yoda 1 axles, and I put that body on there, and I did it like a Sahara. It was green with a tan top, and I love that body. I ended up selling it on eBay, and I've seen it around in the Facebook groups. Somebody got it on a trade, and they finally built it, and they put an XO cage on it, and they made it look pretty good. So I was happy to see it got some use out of it. But I forgot where I was going with this. I've always wanted, this was the Jeep I always wanted. I always wanted a YJ when I was a kid. My sister was 10 years older than me, and she bought her very first car. I guess she was 18. My parents went to help her buy her first newer car on her own. So I was 8, and they bought it at a Jeep dealer, and I spent the entire 6 hours we were there buying a car, climbing around on I guess it was a, oh Lord, 94, 93 model Jeep Sahara green. They had it in the showroom with the top off, so it was like monkey bars hanging off the roll bars, and I've always loved these Jeeps ever since. So I'm still not sure how I'm gonna go with this. We're gonna do some tire test, see what looks right, see what looks wrong. And yeah, I don't have a clue. I was looking at some paints today. I went to a local hobby shop. I was eyeing Tamiya colors, and I just didn't see anything jump out at me. So I held off, tried to take my time, do like I'm doing on my D90 build back there, just slow and steady. And we'll see where it goes. But anyways, thank y'all for watching, and stay tuned. We got a lot more to come.